Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the next Grand Prix. Here we can look at the standings from the last race. We saw that Michael got a 4-point lead ahead of David, and David with a 9-point lead ahead of Elijah, but it is still extremely close for the top three. Anything can happen. Again, we are missing Chris for this race, but hopefully he will be back tomorrow. Liam has a chance to overtake him here, only 3 points behind him. And in the standings for the constructors, Ferrari got a bit of a gap, but not too much as it's only the constructors, only 6 points here. Anyone can still get up to third. Probably not Red Bull as they do not have a driver out here today. And Kick and VCarb are right now battling for those bottom spots. And if we look at the grid today, we see that Michael is on pole yet again. Behind in second is David with Elijah in third place. We do not have Caden here today, but replacing him as first time drivers Nate and Jackson here, who finished P4 and P7 in the qualifying here. We have Liam and Dylan P5 and 6 and Austin in the back with P8. This could be really interesting. I believe a lot of battles are going to happen today. Let's get into this race. And it just lights out and away we go. It looks like Liam failed to start up his car. David gets a better start than Michael once again, but Michael stays ahead. The V-Carb drivers go into P3 and 4 as the McLarens have a horrible start. Both Austin and Dylan drop down to the bottom. David is on the back of Michael here, but starting to gain a bit of a gap here as Nate is following closely behind them, and they're creating a gap to the rest of the field.
Looks like neither of McLaren's got off the line there, dropping down to 6th and 7th. Tragic for the two.
Still not as bad as Dylan, who went from P5 or 6 down to P8, but Elijah was at P4, dropped down to P6, as Jackson went from P7 to P4, taking big advantage here. But Nate is actually keeping up with the top two right now. At the moment, they are the people to look out for, Michael and David, who are going to be battling for the championship, I believe, early in this season.
Looks like we have a battle in the midfield as well. 5th through 8th all being within DRS of each other. You can see this 3.5 second gap already formed between the front and the back.
And as Liam drops down to 8th place again, DRS has not started for them yet. It will be enabled coming out though into the second lap. But as we see, Nate is now starting to drop back a little bit as Michael and David are now getting side by side almost once again. Only 0.6 separating the two. And as we can see now, a little bit of a fairly large gap now starting to form between 2nd and 5th place here, with about 6 seconds separating those two. But still though, it is really early in the race, only lap 2, so anything can happen here. We see David goes a little bit wide, trying to catch up to him. I think he's getting caught in that dirty air and he's struggling.
He's still, as DRS is now going to activate soon, we see battles happening between 4th through 7th. So.
A little bit of a slide there for Elijah as he's coming around here, trying to get ahead of Jackson. This is going through and he slides out around that turn and he drops down to 8th place.
Absolute shambles.
That was not what you wanted to see. He was battling for 4th place there. He had a run onto Jackson with the DRS on the zone, and he just was not able to keep it, and he just spun out there.
David gets a run on Michael here.
Only 2/10 behind, but now he'll have DRS. Michael gets a little bit farther ahead, but I don't think it'll be enough to stop David. They're going side by side here. Luckily, Michael pushes him wide, and he stays ahead for the time being here. David trying to get the switchback, but fails. Get somewhat of an onboard here. We can kind of see how they're taking this is Sector 1. Definitely one of the more challenging sectors on the grid today. Really hard to be consistent through there without hitting that one curb and just sliding off.
Liam is really close to Austin right now, as we can see in the back.
I mean, they are definitely getting closer here, but as we know how Austin tries to defend, I would be a little bit worrisome on trying to make an overtake just yet, especially around these types of corners. I mean, Elijah dropped it down to 18 seconds. He must have pitted for something, probably for a new wing. That has definitely hurt him now, but hopefully by the end of the race he will go and maybe gain a couple of positions.
Just unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, dropping now down to 19 seconds. Well, here we are. We actually see a little bit of a battle here between Austin and Liam. I don't know if he's going to try and make the overtake. He goes along the inside. We see Austin weaving a little bit, but he does not.
Oh my god.
But Liam does, in fact, get through. And now
Austin absolutely pounding at Liam's tires there.
we saw, too, that Dylan may have had a chance there to make another overtake. As we see, those three are swapping
Austin,
positions.
Liam, and Dylan.
Swapping positions quite a bit over there. But we got to be focused on the battle for P1 here. They're going side by side as they make contact going over to the turn here. David tries to hit the switchback, but does in fact fail to do that as Michael closes him off now.
He's getting an amazing run to the next turn.
We know how Michael defends. He defends very aggressively here, but this does eat at his tires. I don't know how much longer he'd be able to defend like this with David pressing him so hard. And we see actually that Elijah dropped to 42 seconds behind the rest of the grid.
Back there?
It has to be some mechanical issue. We know that McLaren had a mechanical issue with Liam last race. Something did hold back Elijah in Bahrain as well. So we can only assume that McLarens are struggling.
Michael does not get a good exit here as we see David going for the move around the outside.
He gets ahead for a quick second, but does not keep it. Michael has to recharge through that. Alright, we did have to use someone else's interval for this, but, you know, we are making it work here. We see them now side by side again. Flipping his wing there. Oh, and he got caught on the curb. He's going to lose a lot of time there. And I mean, the interval's taking a quick second here to catch up, but I mean, he's going to drop quite far. Get down to 2 seconds of a gap for him to catch up. But we know that David is fast around this track. He should be able to make that up quite quickly here. Michael's going to have to take time to preserve his tires as we look at Dylan. Caught himself there on the curb. He did not have that good of a start, but he is trying to make up places. As we see as well on the interval, Nate is only 4 seconds behind the leader compared to the previous race in Bahrain. No one was up to that close to the 2 championship leaders. See, gets close to Austin here, looking for an overtake here. Austin just closes that down. He should get DRS here though, which may be the end to this defense as long as Austin doesn't try anything, and he does not. He lets him through. Not trying to fight that. Knowing that he'll get DRS here. Oh, but Dylan does slide, and they make contact. It was quite interesting there. I was not expecting Austin to do that, but that was quite interesting. He had a free run. He would have been able to take the place back, but he turned into Dylan almost, losing time to the people in front, and he lets Dylan through. See that David has already made up that time. And is already on the back of Michael once again here.
David seems to be rapid around the circuit, but he just cannot stick behind Michael in that dirty air.
I mean, we know though that this circuit does eat at your tires, and we know how hard it is to play a strong defense. We're going to see Michael sliding a bit there as David is putting on the pressure. I don't know how much longer they'd be able to hold this type of pace. As they're going around here, I think Michael's sliding a little bit. Goes off to the side and David just flies through. He says thank you very much as he takes the lead of the race. The first time he has ever led a Grand Prix before.
Michael is struggling with those tires right now.
Don't really know how much longer he'd be able to last. Now that he's in the dirty air, it's going to be a lot harder for him to chase. And I mean, David's already made up the second. He's already out of the DRS range. Michael just cuts that corner. Not able to brake in time. We can look at the leader of the Grand Prix here. David is now 2 seconds ahead. If he wins this Grand Prix, he will take the lead of the championship by, I believe, 3 points. One thing, though, that is quite surprising here is Nate, who, even though he's first ever Grand Prix here, he is only 8 seconds behind the leader here. You see that David over there, or Dylan, sorry, has passed Jackson for P5. But now though that Michael is around that 2-second mark, he's been struggling with the tires. I would not be surprised if he slides a little bit and loses even more time out of turns.
See him in the back now. That gap just getting bigger and bigger every lap.
Liam has been a steady P4 or P5 throughout these races, so it's not surprising that that is where he ended up. But one thing that is very surprising is Elijah down in P8, only 14 seconds compared to the 41 that he was at the start of the Grand Prix. But I mean, still though, it was quite shocking to see him slide out there.
Indeed.
Gap risen between David and Michael to now 2.7 seconds, dropping a little bit, but still not enough. You can look back here at the start of the race. And Michael just late breaks into the corner, making sure he keeps that P1 ahead of David there. And look at Liam's point of view. Just fails to start. I don't know what happened there, but maybe some sort of issue with the car, but he does get going.
Could not get into gear.
Look here at Nate's POV as well. Here at the V-Carb, starting his first ever Grand Prix. That was a okay start off the line. It was a little bit faster than Elijah's. who we know has good starts. I mean, he just stays behind them the entire time. Almost hits David coming out of turn 2. Here we can see Elijah's POV.
Not the best of starts. So much wheel spin.
Just could
He
not
gets
get
passed on the entire field.
could not get any traction. He stays ahead. Yes, he does stay ahead of Austin there, which is good because he would not want to be battling Austin through those S's to keep his position there. We can see here.
Oh, David coming hot into the pit lane there.
Yeah, Dylan here was sliding quite a bit.
Oh, Dylan.
And as we see, we believe that is Jackson here, flying by him. He does drop down to P7, but that was a great pit stop from the Mercedes crew, putting him on the hards here. A lot of people are deciding whether the one stop is the way to go or if they should stick with a two stopper. So chasing Jackson, and as we can move over here to at the moment the championship leader, but that title will be stripped away from David. As it stands, he will be behind David by 3 points, be at 58, while David will be at 61 going into Imola, which will be the next race of the season. As he slides a little bit, hitting the wall, and as we see him now going into the pits, he was on the mediums,
coming in hot. Michael as well.
Seems like everybody is going full speed into the pits, trying to get as much time as possible here. Going onto those hards. It seems like everyone will be going onto the hards, maybe trying to do a one-stop strategy here. See Liam flying down as he gets ahead in the P2, the highest he has ever been in a Grand Prix before. Wondering if he's going to try and battle for that, but he doesn't, as he just lets Michael through, not trying to destroy his tires more than they already are. Just fully cuts that corner. Tires are still fairly cold, so it'll be really hard to keep them, to keep it on the track at first, but once he warms up those tires, he'll really start flying. See the time though between, he taps the wall a little bit there, but we see the time between him and David dropping just a little bit here. As we see David kind of moving in here. I think he's going to go into the pits as well.
Good choice.
Everyone is just flying today going into those pits. Really trying to get as much time out of them as possible.
Good stop.
As we see Michael here starting to close up here. I don't think he's going to get in as he's going around turn 1 and David stays ahead. That was a great pit stop from the Mercedes crew. Being able to keep David ahead of Michael here. About 1.9 seconds.
Doesn't seem like Nate is having the greatest second stint. He's dropped down to P6.
I'm curious here. We can see Dylan's POV as him and Austin collide. I think that may have hit Nate as well here. He's going to let Jackson through before re-entering the track, which is a safe option. It looks like Austin just braked heavily there. Not sure why he would do something like that. Struggling. You can see Nate here as Austin just pushes him into the wall. That is not what you do.
What's going on with him?
Luckily, Nate does get by. He now does not have to worry about Austin anymore. He's back up into P4. now 20 seconds behind. But we can see what was going on here. Look in this replay. See them colliding a little bit, going into turn one, but battling heavy. See,
Everyone gets damaged there, but Austin.
as Austin comes to a hard stop there, we saw that Nate hit Dylan. Probably damaged his wing a little bit here, as you see he's already dropped off a second to Liam, which, as we saw earlier in the race, he did have the pace to match him and even beat Liam. See here in this Grand Prix, we see that Elijah has actually passed Austin for 7th place. He has re-entered the pack and is now making his way through the grid positions.
That is true.
With as high of a tire as he has, I mean, he pitted on, I believe, lap 1. I don't think he's pitted again. That's been 11 laps on probably hard tires. I don't know if he's able to go the rest of the race. I mean, just looking at David fly, he's now 3.6 seconds ahead of Michael, who is 31 seconds ahead of Liam in 3rd place. So we truly see that gap between the first two and the rest of the grid here, who are not separated for more than 10 seconds between each other. Even as we look farther in here, one thing that is going to hurt Ferrari in the standings here is going to be the fact that Caden is not here at this race today. He was not able to show up. So as it stands, I mean, Ferrari's going to drop already just because of the fact that David's going to gain 7 points on Michael. And I believe if they only needed 6 tie with them, so they would be 1 point ahead with just that, and then Dylan will give them those extra points to really push that over the edge and take the lead.
Yeah.
And one other thing is Chris not being here for the 2nd Grand Prix in a row. He won in Australia here, took the lead early, but he has dropped already to P4 in the standings, and I mean, he's going to drop even farther if he does not join back and fight for another win, as we know he has the pace to do so. Elijah here starting to catch up onto Dylan, only 3.6 seconds behind him here, and he's creating that gap to Austin. So it is going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen in this midfield in the coming laps.
Yeah. Elijah on much worse tires, still managing to catch up.
And I mean, on the opposite end, we have Liam now 32 seconds behind Michael, who is 4.5 seconds behind David. We're truly seeing that gap and the skill level. We're seeing the gap. One thing that did come as a surprise is the V-Carbs, who are right now in P4 and P5, their first ever Grand Prix, and that they are showing that they're doing fairly well together as a team here. If points stand the way that they are, that would be 22 points for V-Carb, which would put them above Kick in the standings. Here we are just watching David drive masterfully You see that he's increasing the gap now to Michael even more. And I mean, the gap to the rest of the grid is growing even farther.
You can see Dylan just dropping out of DRS range of Jackson. Just could not hold it up as Elijah comes closer very fast.
It's now only 1.8 seconds. I mean, as we see here, Dylan's actually gone really close now, only 2/10 behind, with Elijah being 1.4 seconds behind. They're really starting to close up. And as I say that, here we are at the back of Jackson. Looks like he's really struggling, not able to take those turns flat out anymore. As we see now, there's almost an even distance. We see Elijah now within the DRS range of Dylan here. This could get fairly interesting. Even though he's on the old tires here, we have a DRS range up here. 9/10 behind, and there's a second one as well, so you can get both of them and then maybe make the pass to 6th place.
It's open, and Elijah takes down that gap by 3/10. It's just not enough as he snaps.
Oh, definitely not enough, but Jackson goes into the pits, I believe, to try and get new and fresh tires here. 1.1 seconds. He's up into P6, which is really impressive considering he was 41 points back, or 41 points, excuse me, sorry, 41 seconds at the start of the Grand Prix. He was 41 seconds behind, and now he is in P6. 18 seconds ahead of the person in last place. See Elijah get right there. This is normally not an overtaking zone, but he does go on the inside, fakes it, goes back around. He's going to wait for that DRS zone. He slides a little bit. We could not see much of what happened there, but we saw Elijah slide right behind Dylan as he was chasing him. You see him losing a lot of time there, down 8 seconds.
It's tragic.
We see David again, the leader of the Grand Prix, 8 seconds ahead of Michael, who is 35 seconds ahead of Liam. In turn, Liam is 13 seconds ahead of Nate. I mean, this is it's pretty interesting. David is 55 seconds ahead of Nate, who is in 4th place. So, and with the lap time around here being just around the 130 mark, you could expect to see by the end of the Grand Prix some lapped cars. And as we see there, we saw that Jackson just DNF'd. Luckily, we believe nothing has happened. There will be no virtual safety car or safety car. He's DNF'd, but luckily it was enough for everyone to get. It is still his green flag again.
See the gap between the first two in the field and everyone else is they're almost 40 seconds ahead, just the distance between second and third.
Here we can look at Nate here, who is had a really nice start. You can see that his wing is broken because of the incident with Dylan and Austin right in front of him earlier in the Grand Prix. But I mean, this pace that he was showing earlier today, he would have been able to rival the top two and at least stay with them if that had not happened to him. Now the big question is, as we come up to around lap 18-ish, is are we going to see everyone try and pull a one-stop strategy here? Obviously, as we see, the V-Carbs have not. We saw Jackson pit early before he DNF'd, and we see Nate now going into the pits. But do you think that everyone else will be trying the one-stop strategy, or is that too risky?
I think it's perfectly understandable. Like, what tires do chew up is not as bad as some of the other tracks. With the gap between the front and the back of the field, anything could be possible.
It was a great pit stop from the V-Carb crew, getting a new front wing to try and push. But I mean, he's 17 seconds behind Austin. He has a lot of time to make up here. And this will be it'll be a chase, as we see that Elijah is still in 5th place now, making up these positions. But as we saw that his tires are extremely worn out, we may start to see him drop a little bit.
Is he still on his tires from lap 1?
I believe he is, yes. I have not seen him take a pit stop yet, as he would have been over a minute behind with the pit stop and the lap 1 pit stop. And gaining that much would be quite impressive. As we see, Michael is just trying to, I believe he was trying to just bring the car home through P2. He may have been gambling on David conducting that second pit stop, just trying to stay in that time and maybe take the lead. But I don't think either of them are going to do a second pit stop. We can look at his tires and see how just absolutely worn they are, on the 50-60% maybe. And one thing also that is quite surprising is the gaps between the top 4 here. There's 11 seconds between Michael and David. There's 37 seconds between Michael and Liam. And there's 22 seconds between Liam and Dylan.
Ridiculous gaps today.
That is 1 minute of gaps between the top 4. Which means if David were to gain another 30 seconds, he would be lapping 4th place. I do not believe he would be able to do that, but Nate and Austin are looking quite more likely, as they are over a minute and 15 behind the leader of the Grand Prix. We see that Nate has overtaken Austin for 6th place. Luckily, do not believe that Austin did any of his shenanigans that he normally does, and he just probably let Nate through.
He does seem to have the DRS, though, as he gets closer to Nate.
I mean, these gaps are just increasing and increasing. I've never seen a race with 4 double-digit gaps before. This is quite impressive, if I do say.
It's insane.
See Michael slid a little bit there. You can truly see that. You can truly know that the tires are falling off here. But with only 4 laps to go, there is almost no reason to pit again.
At this point in the race, it would just be a loss of time.
Look at 4th place Dylan here. He was in, I believe, 5th at the start of the Grand Prix. He is now up into 4th, 21 seconds behind Liam. I don't think he will be gaining I don't think he'll be getting his podium today, but I mean, he has definitely driven well. Tried to battle with Austin here, made the overtake, and just flew by him, giving Mercedes the needed points to get ahead in the constructors.
You see the gap between Elijah and Nate is just shrinking every lap. A lap ago it was around 6 seconds, now it's 3.8. I did not think he was going to be able to hold it till the end.
I mean, 20 laps on a set of tires in Saudi Arabia is almost suicide if you ask me, but he has been able to close a 41-second gap and then gain 8 seconds to the cars behind him, and that is already fairly impressive to do. The recovery drive that could have really been the highlight of the day. Could look here with only 4 laps to go. 14 seconds between Michael and David here. Michael is starting to probably cruise, not trying to push to close down the gap, knowing that he won't be able to really close down that gap anymore. Just trying to bring the car home, not crash or lose any positions, even though he is 41 seconds ahead of third.
So Elijah loses a position tonight.
Austin still has 7.7 seconds to make up on Elijah in order to take that 6th place spot. I don't know if he would be able to do that.
He is making it up though, so we could possibly see it by the end.
And I mean, it was a hard-fought battle in the beginning of the race between Michael and David, but David had that superior tire advantage and was just able to fly off.
See, so many gaps between the top 4.
Even now the top 5 is starting to grow here. I mean, 15, 43, 22, 10. That is, I feel like that's almost unheard of, seeing those types of gaps.
So you can see Elijah there in the background, just on super old tires.
Those tires will be able to last the rest of the race, both only 4 laps left. I'm sure they would be able to. See Nate sliding a little bit here near the end of the Grand Prix. Nobody is switching onto new tires. He did make the 2 stops, so he's on mediums, which wear out a little bit faster than the hard tires do. See Austin dropping the gap now to 4.7 seconds, which was around 8 just a lap ago.
At this rate, he is set to catch Elijah by the end of the race.
And one thing I think I see in the background is, I believe, David. I was unsure. It was hard to see him all the way there in the back, but it could in fact be a Mercedes car in the background. Nate is in fact closing the gap though. 10 seconds is now down to 6.8 and just around half a lap. But with only 3 laps left to go, or 2.5 actually, I don't know if there would be enough time for him to really overtake Dylan here.
Austin seems to be now losing time on Elijah. He must have chewed through his tires as well.
Everyone besides the V-carbs did go onto the one-stop strategy here, so they went on the mediums, and around lap 10 to 13, they switched over to the hard compound. And I mean, the only person who didn't was Nate, and he's had a little bit more fun here in the second stint compared to everyone else who's just trying to stay alive. He's been able to push a little bit, but I don't think it is enough.
And there's David.
Yes, that is the Mercedes car that I thought I saw. Here we can even look at him here. Just right behind him, he was gaining a lot of time. I noticed it. That the gap now between him and just third place is now over a minute. It's a minute and 3 seconds. Between him and fourth place is a minute and 26 seconds. And between him and Nate in P5 is 1 minute and 31 seconds.
Elijah's now behind Austin.
And as David comes around the final couple corners to end off this Grand Prix, he is on lap 25. The top screen we see Dylan Zinderfeld, who's only still on lap 24. That's how far ahead David is. And he's coming around the final couple quarters to give Mercedes their first ever Grand Prix victory, his ever first Grand Prix victory.
A dominant one at that.
Just like Michael's in Bahrain, he had fastest lap, pole. He did not have pole position, but he quickly took first place on lap 7 of the Grand Prix. And he's kept the lead ever since, growing it to 20 seconds to Michael in second, 44 seconds to Liam in third. But as he crosses the line, David wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and takes his first victory for Mercedes and his first victory here in the Racing League. That was quite impressive here, as we see Michael still super far behind. He's just now passing the corner. I mean, that was a really impressive victory here for David today.
Shocking. After such an intense battle in the first few laps, David manages to win with over a minute gap, just 3 positions down.
And I mean, we can see here the podium finishes. We see Liam there getting his first podium, and Michael in P2, but that means David takes the lead of the championship 3 points ahead of Michael, and they are in turn 11 points, I believe, ahead of Liam. I could be wrong though. 19 points ahead of Liam, who is 4 points ahead of Elijah there. And if we look at the constructors, they are 13 points ahead of Ferrari, and Ferrari is only 6 points ahead of McLaren. But if you saw that Red Bull, their first ever victory, they are now 45 points behind McLaren. Just one more victory won't give them any chance